Six Flags Great America is one of the greatest parks I have ever visited. It is the second closest to home for me, and I just visited it for the first time this year. So today, we are going to be counting down all the roller coasters that I have personally ridden at Six Flags Great America ranked. Just a little quick disclaimer, I did not ride the Whizzer when I went, but I've ridden every other ride. So without further ado, this is all the roller coasters I've ridden at Six Flags Great America ranked. Number 15 is Sprocket Rockets. This is a Vekoma family coaster. It's just a kid's coaster. There's nothing really special about it. It just does turns. That's really it. There's nothing really to be said here at all. Number 14 is Little Dipper, a Philadelphia toboggan roller coaster. This is a really fun ride for the families. I wouldn't say it's anything special at any means. It's honestly a little boring, but it's kind of a family coaster, kiddish roller coaster. It's kind of what you expect. It reminds me a lot of Woodstock Express at Kings Island, and it's a fun ride to take your little siblings on, or anybody who's little, like even your kids, anybody. And it's a really fun ride to start out roller coasters. Number 13 and 12 on this list is American Eagle, an intimate wooden roller coaster. This ride, I have nothing but negative things to say about this. There are a few positive things. It has decent pops of airtime at different points of the ride. But besides that, it's a very boring roller coaster. It's extremely rough as well. And it never races. Even though I was fortunate to get a racing ride when I went, which apparently never happens. The second time I went, it didn't do that. I didn't even ride it because the lines were incredibly long. But there's not a lot of good things to say about this ride. It's extremely rough. Even though I'm obsessed with wooden roller coasters, this roller coaster is definitely something I am not a fan of. I thought Racer was bad at Kings Island until I rode this. So yeah, that's why it's placed at number 13. Number 11 is Demon, a aerodynamic looping coaster. This roller coaster was very surprising. I was expecting it to be an extremely rough ride and non-enjoyable at all. I really just went in to get the credit and be done. But this ride was incredibly surprising. Besides Tennessee Tornado, this is my favorite aero looper that I've ever ridden. It is so much fun. I just enjoy it with a passion. I have nothing but good things to really say about this ride. Yeah, it's a little shaky on the corkscrews, but that's really it. It's a really fun ride. If there weren't better roller coasters on this list, this would definitely be a higher ranking. This is a really fun ride, and I highly recommend trying. Kicking off the top 10 is Joker, an S&S 40 free spin. This ride is fun, okay, to a certain extent, but I also noticed a lot of headbanging on this ride, which I thought would be impossible with the restraints it had. And also, it just wasn't really my cup of tea. This is one of those rides where you either love it or hate it. I don't really love it, nor do I hate it. I am kind of in the middle, but it was not the most enjoyable ride in the world for me, and I understand that some people really like these rides, and some people absolutely hate them with everything they got. But that's just me, and that's why it is placed at number 10. Number 9 is The Dark Knight, manufactured by Mack Ride. Holy crap, this is the best Wild Mouse I have ever ridden. I know there are clones at other parks such as Great Adventure, but it's such a fun ride. It's actually smooth and enjoyable, and it has nice theming, and I really appreciate it for what it offers. Number 8 is Flash Vertical Velocity, manufactured by Infinite. I have ridden Wicked Twister before. I did not like it, but rip to that, rest in peace. Let's have a moment of silence for Wicked Twister. Alright, let's get back to the video. Even though Wicked Twister is gone, I found Flash Vertical Velocity to be a much better ride. It is actually a really fun ride. I really enjoy it for what it is. It's not as twisty as Wicked Twister does, but it gets the job done for sure, and I really enjoy it. Number 7 is Batman the Ride, a B&M inverted roller coaster. This ride is fun. Is it as good as Banshee in my opinion? No. Is it better than Raptor? Oh, 100%. It is a really fun ride. For something that had the normal restraints, it was really fun. It was an extremely smooth ride. For the first inverted roller coaster, this was amazing. It was extremely smooth. It was just really intense ride. It actually made it into my top 25 roller coasters. If you haven't seen that, go watch it right this second. Maybe not right this second, but still. But anyways, this is an amazing ride, and I highly recommend riding it when you go to Great America. It's a fun ride. Number 6 is X-Flight, a B&M wing coaster. This is my favorite wing coaster I've ridden. I've ridden 3 out of the 4 wing coasters in America. Thunderbird is the only one remaining, and that's located at Holiday World. This is a really fun ride. It's actually surprisingly intense compared to most wing coasters. I have not found other wing coasters like Wild Eagle and Gatekeeper to be intense rides, but this is an extremely intense ride. The head chopper effects were incredible, and this is a very photogenic roller coaster. I got plenty of film on it, and it was just so much fun. I highly recommend riding when you go to Six Flags. You won't regret it at all. We are now reaching the top 5. X-Flight was ranked higher than this at the park for a while until I got another ride and gave it another chance. Number 5 is Raging Bull, a B&M hyper coaster. This is actually a really fun ride. This is like a very surprising ride. At first, when I first rode it, it was extremely disappointing and underwhelming. But when I rode it again, when I went back to Six Flags a second time this year, it was running spectacular. When I first rode it, it was pretty early in the morning. It was pretty early, but when I rode it again, when I came back, it was about midday, and it was a really fun ride. And I highly recommend riding this ride. It is a very underrated hypercoaster, and you need to ride it like immediately. Number 4 is Superman Ultimate Flight, a B&M flying coaster. This is my first ever flying roller coaster, and it did not disappoint the slightest. This is a very underrated roller coaster model. I really enjoy it. It was a lot of fun. It was extremely intense. That way of riding a roller coaster is just something different, and I really enjoy it. You guys have to go out and ride this ride. It's like none other. It's just like an amazing ride. It's an amazing experience, and you have to ride it. So I highly recommend riding this ride when you go to Six Flags Great America, over Georgia, or Great Adventure. It is an amazing just ride. So like if you go to any of those parks, you'll find this roller coaster. It is such an enjoyable ride, and that's why you should ride it. Number 3 is the Viper, an in-house made wooden roller coaster. Also a clone of Cyclone at Coney Island in New York. This is a really fun ride. This is the most surprising roller coaster I have probably ever ridden. Like, I wasn't expecting this ride to be better than Cornball Express at Indiana Beach. That just doesn't normally happen. There's not a lot of rides that normally top that in terms of old classy wooden roller coasters. This is an amazing ride. You guys all know I'm a huge sucker for wooden roller coasters. It is so enjoyable. You guys have to go out and ride this ride, or just go to Coney Island if that's closer to you. I've never personally ridden it. I don't know if it's the same in terms of feelings or experience, but it's so good, and you gotta ride it. And I highly recommend riding this when you go to Six Flags Great America. So this took a lot of thought, and I had a hard time deciding between the two, but I have came with a decision, and that's how it stands. Number 2 is Max Force, an air compressed SNS launch coaster. This roller coaster is by far the greatest launch on a roller coaster I have ever experienced. It is such an enjoyable ride. SNS did a great job with this roller coaster. This literally is probably also one of the most intense roller coasters I've ever ridden. Also has some of my favorite inversions, especially that dog's tongue. That was really fun. And so the number 1 spot, I think you guys all know. Number 1 is Goliath, an RMC Topper Track wooden roller coaster. This roller coaster, oh my god, is insane. Deciding between this and Max Force was extremely challenging. It was really close, but I came down with my decision. I really enjoyed this ride. It is by far one of my favorite roller coasters that I have ever ridden, period. It is such a fun ride. It has some amazing ejector air time. It has an amazing first drop. What else could you really ask from a ride like that? It is a very underrated RMC, but it's a very good example of a ride being short and sweet. It is just such an amazing ride, and I highly recommend riding this ride when you go to Six Flags. You will not regret it one bit. It is such an amazing roller coaster, and you need to experience it as soon as possible. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe, turn on the notifications to see videos just like this. Also press that like button. And I guess in that case, I'll see you guys all next time on the Theme Park Base. Bye guys.